Hello everyone and welcome to my book haul for November. Not every book that I got in November will be in this. I did a Marissa's book haul. That was separate. And then I will do the ones that I did an unboxing for because not everyone likes the unboxings. So the books that I did, like book subscription service unboxings, my cord is tangled, hang on. So the books that I got in book subscriptions or book boxes will be in this video. And then additional books that I got because it was part of a series or something else. So, yeah, Marissa's will not be in this one because I did a separate video for that, as well as the November Advent calendar. So that one has its own video as well. So this is like my third book haul for the month. Anyway, let's go ahead and just delve right on in. The one that I have on top, I got this one from Thrift Books. I am trying to collect pretty much all of R.L. Stine's books at this point. I have all of the original Fear Street. I have the Super Chillers. Now I have decided to start working on the R.L. Stine Seniors. So I got this one from Thrift Books, and this one is episode 1, so book number 1 in the R.L. Stine Seniors. I have not read any of these particular books. And this one is Let's Party. And then there's that. Okay. Is the senior class doomed to die? Josie Maxwell's sure of it. Trisha Conrad had a vision of the whole Shadyside High senior class lying in coffins, and Josie's afraid she's done something to begin the horror. But her stepbrother Josh doesn't believe it. Senior year is going to be the best time of his life. But what if Trisha's prediction is true? Okay, these next 4, right? No, 5, were all from the author Aiden Pierce from her website. So this first one is Pray for the Rabbit. This is a Easter monster romance. She did sign these. The silver wolf thinks I'm his prey. Little does he know he's mine. The rabbit shifters and the werewolves have had a truce for centuries. Our burrow sets 3 of our kind loose in the woods on Easter to be hunted, to be slaughtered like the prey we are. Then the wolves leave us alone for the rest of the year. When I'm selected as a sacrifice for this twisted tradition, I refuse to be another victim. All it takes is an abandoned cabin in the woods, an old axe, and the unexpected wolves thinking I'm an easy target like all the rest. The silver wolf is the only one who doesn't underestimate me. It's just my luck that when I scent him, I go into heat, and his inner beast chooses me for his mate. Too bad, we want each other dead. Now this next one, I think I said Sleep Devil when I did the unboxing. It's actually Step Devil. And I'm only going to read, these ones are novellas. I'm only going to read the first synopsis in this particular video. So I have Step Devil and Step Devil 2. Okay, so here's the cover of the second one. And then here's the first one. So the synopsis from the first one says, there's something off with my new stepbrother, something monstrous. When my mom up and marries a man she doesn't know, she uproots us from our home in upstate New York to live in the tiny backwoods town of Bishop, buried deep in the New Jersey pine barrens. There's something terribly wrong with this place. But it's not the creepy townsfolk that frighten me, or my new stepdad who definitely runs some kind of cult. The real monster is Titus Leeds, my new stepbrother. There's a part of him that wants me to leave this place, to protect me. But there's a darker side of him that wants me to stay. A creature lurks in the forest, and it hungers for my soul. Maybe the only way to keep my soul safe is to let Titus Leeds claim it first. So, duology, Step Devil 1 and Step Devil 2. This next one is another little novella. This one is a Valentine's Day monster romance, and this one is Bleed for Cupid. Roses are red, violets are blue. Hide your heart, little bird. Cupid's arrow is coming for you. Callum is more than the CEO of Cupid Inc., the company that manufactures love potions and sells them to mateless supernaturals who want to take fate into their own hands. He's an angel, literally. But even the devil came from heaven. So it's just my luck that he also happens to be my boss, until he discovers that I'm a mole for the organization protesting the company. Suddenly I find myself as the test bunny for the most potent product yet, Cupid's arrow, and my mate-to-be, Callum himself. Call it vengeance, call it an insane marketing stunt, call it fate, whatever it is. There's no escaping Cupid Inc.'s Dark Angel and his terrifying brand of love. This one, I gotta say, it is harder to read with the red on the black. The dark, that synopsis is harder to read, so. But I am excited for these, so. Now this next one is co-authored. It's book number 1 in a duet. The duet is called Death Bound. And it was co-authored, so Aiden Pierce wrote it along with R.K. Pierce. And this one is Lord of Bones. And this one has 2 POVs on the back. So we have Raven and Belial. Underneath Raven it says kidnapped, collared, trapped. I slink through the shadows and steal from the disease. It's my passion, until I steal from death himself. Then it becomes my curse. I'm a prisoner in the realm of the dead, at the mercy of the beast who calls this labyrinth castle home. The walls are alive, with shifting corridors and eyes that follow me everywhere. He's given me 3 days to escape. Then I become his property forever. But what happens, after everything, if I don't want to escape his cruel love at all? And then underneath, I think it's Belial? I don't know. It says, I will break her. I will take her. I will make her mine. My little thief will pay for what she stole. In blood, in fear, in sweat, and tears. I'll own every drop of her, brand my name upon her bones. I'll carve my obsession into her soul. She thinks she can escape me. She'll soon discover she's already mine. My new queen will look so pretty with a crown upon her head and my lap for her throne. I am death incarnate. I am the Lord of Bones, and I am hers. These next 2 books were my mom's. This first one I'm going to show you, it was just too dark for her, and she knows I like reading darker stuff. So I don't know how dark it's going to be. I think this is maybe not a middle grade because the writing doesn't look big enough. So I don't know exactly much about it, but it's Gallows Hill. And this one was written by Lois Ruby. This one says, Salem, Massachusetts, 1692. Underneath, it says, Thomas is marked as an outcast the moment he steps off the ship from England. As a Quaker, he's outnumbered and distrusted by Salem's Puritans. And as an orphan without any useful skills, he has nowhere to live and no way to earn his keep. In a stroke of luck, perhaps good, perhaps not, he's taken in by an aged widow who's rumored to be a witch. Patience has tried all her life to be a good Puritan, obedient to God and to her elders, and all her life she has come up short. But her orderly world is upended when her younger sister Abigail falls victim to a mysterious affliction. The same torments have stricken other Salem girls who claim they are being bewitched by servants of the devil. Soon the girls, including Abigail, begin accusing neighbors of witchcraft. As a community becomes consumed by suspicion and fear, Thomas and Patience search for the truth. To protect those they care about, they will have to question everything they think they know, their faiths, their loyalties, and their places in Salem. Okay, next up I have Fall of Marigolds. Also, this was my mom's copy, but she's having a hard time reading because arthritis in her hands, holding regular books, so a Kindle is working out better for her. So I imagine as time goes on, I'll probably be getting more books from her that were hers. There are certain ones that she's absolutely not going to give up, like any copy that she has of To Kill a Mockingbird. That is her absolute favorite book. She will not give those ones up, which is fine. And anything else that would be like her favorite. She loves Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. So anyway, so books like that are her favorite, she'll keep until the day she dies. And which I am happy that she has some books like that. Everything else she'll gradually be giving to me, I'm sure. So anyway, so this one is A Fall of Marigolds by Susan Meissner. September 1911. On Ellis Island in New York Harbor, Nurse Clara Wood cannot face returning to Manhattan, where the man she loved fell to his death in the Triangle Shirtwaist Fire. Then, while caring for a fevered immigrant whose own loss mirrors hers, she becomes intrigued by a name embroidered on the scarf he carries, and finds herself caught in a dilemma that compels her to confront the truth about the assumptions she made. What she learns could devastate her or free her. September 2011. On Manhattan's Upper West Side, widow Taryn Michaels has convinced herself that she is living fully, working in a charming specialty fabric store and raising her daughter alone. Then a long-lost photograph appears in a national magazine, and she is forced to relive the terrible day her husband died in the collapse of the World Trade Towers. The same day, a stranger reached out and saved her, but a chance reconnection and a century-old scarf may open Taryn's eyes to the larger forces at work in her life. Sounds good. Now these next 6 books were from Romance Reveal, and this first one is Braxton, The Rangers, and this one's like book 2 or 3 in the series, because I actually did buy the first book, so you'll see that one later in the video. This one is by Hadley Finn, and I'm sure you can read these ones as standalones, but I prefer, if at all possible, to read things in order. Other than like the R.L. Stine books. But from watching like Gavin's channel, Gavin Reads It All. It used to be How to Train Your Gavin. I always want to say that because that's what I was so used to. He read all of the R.L. Stine's Fear Street books, and it sounds like, and I've never made the connection, that certain characters pop up. So I may start reading those in order from this point on. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that interesting. In case, and I'm sure Gavin's a huge name on BookTube, so I'm sure y'all know about Gavin. But just in case, I will link Gavin's channel in the description box. But these ones are all from Romance Reveal. So this one says, twins might be Braxton's ultimate fantasy, but not like this. Braxton Ranger is busy minding his business, running his horse ranch, when his world is turned upside down by the tiniest of challenges. Namely, a surprise 6-month-old baby recently orphaned by his mom, a dead woman who was a 2-night fling, someone Braxton barely remembers. When her hostile twin arrives, he wishes he could forget them both, because Emberly Carrington, who is beautiful, brilliant, and filthy rich, is determined to make his life a living hell, starting with contesting custody of her nephew, Braxton's newfound son. She wants to fight. Braxton is ready for battle. That is, until he realizes he's met his match in love and war. Just when he thinks he knows who he's fighting, the true enemy appears, and there's nothing but bloodshed. Okay, this next one is book number 1 in the Only in Goose Hollow series, and this one is Only Wanna Dance with You, written by Lisa Shelby. One weekend, no names, no complications. That was the deal we made, but the moment she sat beside me at the hotel bar, I wanted her to complicate the hell out of my life. I agreed to all her terms but one. I wanted her name. She promised to give it to me before checkout. She lied. She snuck out without a trace, leaving me to wonder if the best weekend of my life had been a figment of my imagination. Now, 2 years later, she's here, in my town, at my store. Only she didn't come looking for me. In fact, her arrival is nothing more than a coincidence, with the anger I've bottled up since the morning she ditched me, threatening our shot at a second chance. I know I have to take control of the situation, and this time, she'll be playing by my rules. Next, I have Atlas by Jessalyn Jameson. This one is book number 1. Yes, book number 1 in the Completely Rocked series. So this is a music romance. What do you do when the world's hottest bassist sets his sights on you? You turn him down, obviously. Look, you can shake your head at me all you want, but I have plans. Plans that don't involve the no-pants dance with sexy, jaded rock stars. I almost said jacked rock stars. I'm sure he's jacked. Anyway. But Atlas Reynolds isn't one to give up easily, and he certainly doesn't take no for an answer. Too bad I already have one foot out the proverbial door, and sticking around even for a reckless weekend between the sheets with the world's sexiest rock star could derail my best laid plans. But when I finally give in, I discover that this bad boy bassist plays hard and loves even harder. Billions of women want him, but he wants only me. Next, I have book number 1 in the Broken Falls series, and this one is called Boone, written by Laramie Brisco. And I just thought of this too, because I had mentioned Gavin earlier because of this series. I will link his, not only his channel, but I will also link the Fear Street video that he did. Highly recommend. It was really cool. He did great work on that. All right. Again, by Laramie Brisco. I'm old enough to be her father and a lifelong confirmed bachelor, but after one night together, all that is about to change. Underneath Boone Wilson, it says, instead of building my forever with a conventional family, I've dedicated my life to being the best father I can to the son I had way too early in life. Now that he's grown, I'm giving all I can to my job. I make a construction site run smoothly and can build anything with a couple pieces of wood and my imagination. My world is small and calm. That's how I like it. Until Alexis Monroe barrels her way into my peaceful existence, turns my world upside down. And then underneath Alexis Monroe, it says, since graduating college, I've been hustling, trying to make a dent in the crippling student loan debt I've accumulated. Just when I think I'm about to hit major burnout, Boone Wilson walks into the bar I sling drinks at. His swagger and quiet self-assuredness is a flame that draws me to him. All I can do now, try not to get burned. Okay, next I have the DM Diaries by Teagan Hunter. Olive O'Brien is a plus-size influencer with 500,000 followers and big dreams, and she's feeling the pressure to stand out while staying true to herself, to cope. Olive finds solace in an unexpected place, the DMs of Jasper Rafferty, the world's hottest movie star, where she feels safe to share her hopes, fears, and secrets, because it's not like he'll read them, until he does, kind of. Career-wise, Jasper's younger brother Jude is in freefall. After an interview gone wrong, Jude now has the thankless job of managing his brother's social media accounts to help reboot his own image. Olive's messages are unexpected, and her wit and vulnerability catch his interest. How can Jasper not respond? Quote-unquote Jasper. And how long can Jude keep up the ruse? As the DMs get flirtier and more personal, the bigger question is what'll happen when Olive finds out she's fallen for a fraud. It might not be what either of them expects. And this last one from Romance Reveal is further on in a series. Again, it could be book 2, it could be book 3. And so you'll see book 1 pop up later in this video. This one is called Blindsided. And I apologize for the glare. This is one shiny, shiny cover. This was written by Shelby Gunter, and this is part of the Metamorphosis series. I'm in love with my brother's best friend. It's cliche, I know, but Matthew Ellis is the epitome of the perfect book boyfriend. I never stood a chance. Of course, he has no idea I have been in love with him since I was a teenager. So when I decided to randomly show up on his doorstep on a Friday night, let's just say, it wasn't my smartest move. In my defense, I wasn't in my right mind. I just found out someone was stalking me in the most horrific way, and I didn't have anywhere else to go. I tried my hardest to keep my feelings secret, but there was no way I could be in close proximity to my childhood crush and not flirt a little. Well, what I wasn't prepared for was Matthew flirting in return. There was no holding back after that. There were just 2 problems to our happily ever after. My overly protective brother, who would not be happy we lied to him, and my stalker, who was hell-bent on making me his, no matter what. Okay, so I have 6 more books to show you that were, I have more, but 6 more that were from book boxes. Okay, this first one is from Book of the Month, and this one is The Road of Bones. This is book number 1 in the Ashen series, written by Demi Winters. And for whatever reason, I was thinking vampire, but I think it's actually Viking. I'm finding I love the Viking vibes in books. So, this one says, Scylla Nordvig is running for her life. The Queen of Isildur has sent warriors to bring Scylla to Senevik, where death awaits her. When her father is killed, his last words set Scylla on a perilous quest to travel the treacherous road of bones, a 1,000-mile stretch, haunted by war bands, creatures of darkness, and a mysterious murderer, and go to Kopa, the safety of a shield house. After barely surviving the first stretch of the road, a desperate Scylla sneaks into a supply wagon belonging to the notorious Blood Axe crew. To make it to Kopa, she must win over Axe Eyes, the brooding leader of the crew, while avoiding the wolf, his distractingly handsome right-hand man. All the while, the Queen's ruthless assassin hunts Scylla obsessively. Will Scylla make it safely to Kopa, or will she fall prey to the perils of the Road of Bones? Okay, now this next one is not going to have a synopsis on the back. There will be a quote, but this one is a complete duology. I got this one from probably Smut. It says, she's our missing piece. This is Pack of Darling, and this is by Lola Rock. And this is a complete duology. So, Pack Darling, does it say what the title is of the first one? No, it just says Part 1. Pack Darling Part 1. So I'm not sure what the actual title is of book number 1. I'm assuming something has to do with dentistry. And then maybe food, fast food, because there's things of French fries there, and then there's 2 toothbrushes. So, I don't know. Anyway, so this chunker is 2 books in one. Again, I got this one from probably Smut. This first one is Hallow's Eve Hookups by Kenna Bellrae. It says on the back, we fit together as though our souls were made of the same stardust. And who was I to deny the stars? And then sprayed edges. And these are dark, very dark romances from Read in Peace. This one is not a subscription service. This one, it is a book box, but there's basically special edition books, and then you just kind of have to watch your emails or sign up for watch lists or whatever, and then they'll let you know when they have special editions of certain books. So, yeah. Hallow's Eve Hookups. And I think this one's a collection of novellas, if I remember correctly. And it does have a note at the beginning of this one. You do need to be 18 or older to read these. They are that spicy. Okay, and this next one, these 3 came in one box. These are all kind of like serial killer type vibes. This first one I'm going to show you, Final Girls serial killer type things. This first one I have an edition of, a different edition. And so this one's like a special edition from the Read in Peace. So I'm not getting rid of either of them because I love even the original copy that I have because I like the cover of that one too. But this first one I'm showing you is Slash or Pass by Tylor Paige. The back says, you look like hell, but it seems like you like it there. And then the sprayed, or the stenciled edges, excuse me, it's the same kind of design all around, which are teapots. And this is the Final Girls Club. Same on the back. And all 3 of these are by Tylor Paige. And this one is Slay Less. Fucking you is the most depraved thing I've ever done, Lainey. And that's saying something. Jump scare for a spider. So, the sprayed edges are webs and tarantulas. I think it's a tarantula, but it's still a spider. And Final Girls Club. Again, same on the back. Okay, and this third one and last one from the Read in Peace box for the Final Girls is Knife, Comment, Share, again by Tylor Paige. And the sprayed edges are black dog faces, because he's on the back here. My broken little doll, you're beautiful. And there's that dog. Okay, this next stack of books are all from Amazon. So I've tried reading Stephen King in the past, did not like him. But I like his writing now. So my writing tastes, as you read, your writing tastes evolve, whether that's to no longer like authors that you used to like or to like authors you didn't like before. And Stephen King is one of those where I now have enjoyed his writing. I've read 2 books by him. One is a novella or a short story, and one is an actual novel. I did get from Marissa's a different Stephen King book, and so I thought, you know what, I want to collect his books. So these 2 will go on my bookcases here in my office because I have already read them. I read ebook versions of these. These will just go on my shelves. And this first one I have to tell you about is Carrie. So I've read this one, really enjoyed it. I don't remember if I gave it a 4 or a 5 star, but both of these Stephen King books, I believe I gave either no less than a 4 star. So they were either 4 or 5. Carrie may be picked on by her classmates, but she has a gift. She can move things with her mind. Doors lock, candles fall. This is her power and her problem. Then, an act of kindness, as spontaneous as the vicious taunts of her classmates, offers Carrie a chance to be a normal, until an unexpected cruelty turns her gift into a weapon of horror and destruction that no one will ever forget. Definite, if you want a book that has a lot of religious trauma or religious horror, Carrie would be the one for that one. And this second Stephen King book is Cycle of the Werewolf. Again, like I said, this is a short story. This one was 127 pages, but there are pictures. And so it's cool to have, in my opinion, these pictures tangible in my hand and have them, some of these pictures in color. So that's really cool. The first screams came in January from the snowbound railway man who felt the inhuman fangs ripping at his throat. The shrieks of ecstatic agony from the woman attacked in her cozy bedroom were heard the following month. As the year progresses and the seasons change, scenes of unimaginable horror unfold in the isolated Maine town of Tarker's Mills. No one knows who will be the next victim. But one thing is certain. When the full moon rises, a paralyzing fear sweeps through the community. For snarls that sound like human words can be heard through the wind. And all around are footprints of a monster whose hunger can never be sated. Okay, this next one I used to have, but then I got rid of it because I was very harsh on it. And so I want to give it another shot. And I love books with vampires anyway, for the most part. So I thought I am, if I like this book, I do want my own copy. So, and I happened to get this one at a really good, it was like half off or something on Amazon. It was at almost 50% off, like 30 or 40, I think. Anyway, Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff. So, I'm going to go in. I think part of my problem is when I tried to read it the first time, I DNF'd it, but when I tried to read it the first time, there was so much hype around this book and this author. I have to wait until hype kind of dies down, or I'm more in the mood to read it. One of those two, because sometimes the more hype there is, the less I want to read it. Like I remember when Twilight was really, really hyped, would not read it. It did not sound interesting. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let's see what it's about. It's vampires. I like vampires. Gave it a shot. Now I enjoy that series. So I'm thinking it's going to be the same with this. Well, now that the hype has died down for the author or quite a bit anyway, for the author. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this author, nor about this book. I think I'll enjoy it more than when I first tried to read it. So this one says, from Holy Cup comes Holy Light. The faithful hand sets world aright. And in the 7 martyrs' sight, mere man shall end this endless night. It has been 27 long years since the last sunrise. For nearly 3 decades, vampires have waged war against humanity, building their eternal empire even as they tear down our own. Now, only a few tiny sparks of light endure in a sea of darkness. Gabriel de Leon is a silver saint, a member of a holy brotherhood dedicated to defending realm and church from the creatures of the night. But even the Silver Order could not stem the tide once daylight failed us, and now only Gabriel remains. Imprisoned by the very monsters he vowed to destroy, the last Silver Saint is forced to tell his story. A story of legendary battles and forbidden love, of faith lost and friendships won, of the wars of blood and the forever king, and the quest for humanity's last remaining hope, the Holy Grail. This, when I first read it, part of it is I just also read the very first book in Anne Rice's books, vampire books, the Vampire Lestat, something like that. And this just gave kind of like a knockoff version of that when I first read it. And so I'm going to go, this is its own, kind of like a retelling of that, but J. Kristoff's retelling. So yeah. Okay, and these next 2 from Amazon, I know this, I think I've got this one down slotted for Autism Reads for 2025. I've got to double check, but I know this first one I'm going to show you is for Autism Reads. So the link to that Discord is always in the description box. And this one is Anna on the Edge by AJ Sass. It says, 12-year-old Anna Marie Jin is the reigning U.S. juvenile figure skating champion, is not a frilly dressed kind of kid. So when Anna learns that next season's program will be princess-themed, doubt forms fast. Still, Anna tries to focus on training and putting together a stellar routine worthy of national success. Once Anna meets Hayden, a transgender boy new to the rink, thoughts about the princess program and gender identity begin to take center stage. And when Hayden mistakes Anna for a boy, Anna doesn't correct him and finds comfort in this boyish identity when he's around. As their friendship develops with a major competition approaching, Anna must decide whether telling everyone the truth is worth risking years of hard work and sacrifice. So this one is on my, I think this one's the YA. Yeah, this one's got to be the young adult selection. So February, I want to say. This one is, it says, sometimes fitting in means standing out. The State of Grace by Rachel Lucas. Sometimes I feel like everyone else was handed a copy of The Rules for Life and mine got lost. Ain't that the freaking truth? Grace is autistic and has her own way of looking at the world. She's got a best friend and a horse who understands her, and that's pretty much all she needs. But when Grace kisses Gabe and things start to go wrong at home, the world doesn't make much sense to her anymore. Suddenly, everything threatens to fall apart, and it's up to Grace to fix it on her own. Okay, these next two are both from R.L. Stine, and this one's a duology. So I've got two books here, and this one is Dangerous Girls, Vampires, Young Adult Vampires. So this first one, so I will only read the synopsis of the first one so I don't spoil anything in the second. So the first one is, again, Dangerous Girls. It says, you'll love them to death. Destiny Weller and her twin sister Libby return from their summer vacation with an overpowering thirst, an inhuman desire to drink blood. Have they turned into vampires? How will they keep their horrifying secret from their family and friends? And can they find a way to become human again before it's too late? And book number 2 in the Dangerous Girls duology is The Taste of Night. So this is following the same characters, Destiny Weller and her sister, twin sister Libby. So these next two books from Amazon are the first books in a series. So books 2, 3, 4, or whatever later on in the series were from the Romance Reveal. I got the first 2 books of both of these series. So this first one is Exton by Hadley Finn. Let's see, a tattoo artist, an FBI agent, and a psycho walk into a bar. Not your average joke, not your average romance. Exton Ranger doesn't think so either. It takes only one night for him to fall under Willa Jane's spell, to recognize the honesty in her eyes, and to understand the woman with a mysterious dragon tattoo doesn't need a knight in shining armor. After all, Willa thinks fairy tales are for suckers. What he doesn't know is that he's being drawn into a web of deceit, lies, and betrayal. But he will navigate it because she's worth it, and he'll go to the ends of the earth to prove it to her. The fairy tale may have started with the woman who could slay her own dragons, but Exton knows it will only end when he saves her from them all. Okay, and this next one is book number 1 in the Metamorphosis series by Shelby Gunter, and this one is Catalyst. This all started with a purple feathered peacock pen, because who doesn't love those bouncy plastic animals? My boss, that's who. He's grumpy, growly, and one rainbow-printed sticky note away from a heart attack, I tell ya. All I wanted to do was bring a little color into Adam Ellis's life. I had no clue my efforts would bring out a man so incredibly tempting. I'd be willing to skirt the rules just to see what was under those freshly pressed suits. I never expected Adam to let go of his rigid control enough to explore the sizzling chemistry between us. I also never expected to fall head over heels for the man. But when someone threatens to upend what I thought would be our happily ever after, I have to make a choice. Ruin the one thing that has brought me true happiness or betray the love of my life. Okay, so this next one I got because book like 8 or 9 was on the Goodreads Choice Award for 2024. I did not vote on any of them because I think out of all of them, I know like in the audiobook category, I've listened to 1984 and that's it. And then there's like 2 other categories where I've only read 1 book. So I could vote for him, but I thought, why? Anyway, I've got my own issues with Goodreads Choice Awards, but that's a whole different discussion. But the 8th or 9th book sounded really good, and I've heard my mom talk about this series and said it was a good series. So I thought I'm going to get the first one in the series and see what I think about it, which it sounds like I will really enjoy it. So this first book is by Elizabeth Strout, and I don't remember the title of the book from this author that was on the Goodreads Choice Awards, but book number 1 is My Name is Lucy Barton. So again, by Elizabeth Strout. Lucy Barton is recovering slowly from what should have been a simple operation. Her mother, to whom she hasn't spoken for many years, comes to see her. Gentle gossip about people from Lucy's childhood in Amigosh, Illinois, seems to reconnect them. But just below the surface lie the tension and longing that have informed every aspect of Lucy's life. Her escape from her troubled family, her desire to become a writer, her marriage, her love for her 2 daughters. Knitting this powerful narrative together is the brilliant storytelling voice of Lucy herself, keenly observant, deeply human, and truly unforgettable. It sounds like I'll really like it. Now this next one I got is in December. Completely Melanie is hosting, and she has 2 co-hosts, Stephanie, and I'm forgetting the other one. I have it written down, I really do. But Completely Melanie has created a readathon that will be taking place, and I'm forgetting, like Mary Bookmaster. I don't even remember the title of the readathon. Wow. Anyway, but I do know that this is the group read, and I had to get it because it is a pug on the cover, and I think this is told from the pug's perspective. And so I had to get this, and I actually bought 2 copies of this book because my mom is a big pug lover. More than me. So I had to get my mom her own physical copy of this. And so she has actually just started this one today. Which after she's read it, she'll probably end up at some point, unless it becomes one of her favorites, she'll probably keep it for years and years because it's a pug and from a pug's POV, I think. But at some point it'll end up going to a little free library or a second thrift store or something like that. Just as the arthritis in her hands gets harder for her to hold physical books, eventually it'll leave the house. But the book that is the group read for Completely Melanie's readathon, and I'll link Completely Melanie's channel in the description box as well. But the group read is Pupcakes. It says a Christmas novel from the author of Sit, Stay, Speak, by which was Annie England Noblin. It's a pug. I had to get it for my mom. He stood in the doorway, overweight, depressed, nearly homeless. He was a pug named Teddy Roosevelt, and he was Bertie Benson's new full-time 4-legged housemate. True, Teddy was a little bit gassy, a little bit grumpy, but Bertie figured he was no worse than her ex-husband and probably a whole lot more faithful. Plus, he was part of the deal. Pet sit Teddy and live in a lovely home rent-free. So I don't know if it's maybe going to be told from both. Maybe it's third person. I don't know. Looks like it's told in third person, but I don't know if any of it's going to be told from the pug's point of view, so from Teddy's. Anyway, continuing on with the synopsis, it says, navigating her newly single world wasn't easy, but Bertie knew a couple of things. First, she was a darn good baker. Second, she wasn't going to let circumstances get the better of her. So she began to rebuild her world, making new friends, like cute local veterinarian Nathan Reed, Teddy's irascible owner. Pauline Newman, a new work colleague, and new work colleagues who began to remind her what the true meaning of family was all about. So maybe it's not from Teddy's, or any of it's from Teddy's point of view. I don't know where I got that. But anyway, continuing on, it says, as Halloween turned to Christmas time, Bertie's disdain for Teddy and her new life turned into a love she hadn't known she still had inside of her. She began to realize that baking for Teddy could be just as satisfying as baking for humans. After all, dogs rarely complain. And somewhere in between gluten-free dog bones and crisp apple tarts, Bertie found the life she'd never known she'd always wanted. So it sounds really sweet. Okay, this last stack are all from Barnes & Noble. Now, I'm going to do the non-Christmas books first because I went in specifically for some Christmas books. And then there are 3 books that I got that just looked really interesting. So, and this is from 2 separate trips to Barnes & Noble. So at one point I got 4 books. The other time I got 4, less than 5 books each. That is great. Anyway, so I wanted more Christmas specific books because Christmas, with working in retail, that has dampened my love of Christmas. So I wanted more Christmas fiction to try and lighten my mood for Christmas. But let's go with the non-Christmas ones first. And these 2 of these were complete cover buys, and one of them the way people have described it on BookTube just sounds so cute. So this first one is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I really like this cover. And this is book number 1 in a series. I don't know if it's a duology or what, but it says number 1 right there at the top. So Phantasma only has 2 rules: stay alive and don't fall in love. When Ophelia discovers her mother brutally murdered, there is no time to grieve. She has inherited the family's fearsome magic and enormous debt. Circumstances go from dire to deadly, however, when Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, a competition where contestants rarely escape alive, and the victor is granted a single wish. The only way for Ophelia to save her sister is to win, but Phantasma is a cursed manor, full of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms, staffed by enticing demons and fatal temptations, and Ophelia must conquer all 9 floors to succeed, if her fears don't overtake her first. When a charming, arrogant stranger claims he can help, Ophelia knows better than to trust him. But with her sister's life on the line, Ophelia can't afford to turn him away. She'll just need to ignore the overwhelming dark attraction drawing them closer and closer together. Because in Phantasma, the only thing deadlier than losing the game is losing your heart. There we go. Okay. And this one, so we have level 7, and then there's some chapters in that level. So those are like the floors, and then you have chapters within that floor. So chapter 43 is Violence, which is the first one of chapter 7. This one I got from the sci-fi fantasy section at Barnes & Noble. Along with this one, in the same section, science fiction fantasy, and this one is Tonight I Burn, written by Catherine J. Adams. Love this cover, and I like the title, Tonight I Burn. One Witch, One Spark, and this is book number 1 in the Thorn Witch trilogy. A witch with the power to walk in death finds herself at the center of a magical rebellion and a dangerous romance that could destroy her coven and her soul in this mesmerizing fantasy debut. Penny Albright is a thorn witch forced by the warden of Halstead to patrol the veil between the realms of life and death. Each night, one witch alone must cross the veil by burning. Each morning, the witch uses her magic to return. Failure to follow these rules risks the veil and risks them all. But one morning, Penny's sister doesn't return, and that night, determined to find her, Penny breaks the rules and burns in secret. It's a choice that leads her to Malin, a devastating lord with too many secrets, to Alice, a mysterious captive prophet, and to a rebellion brewing in the shadows that will determine not just her sister's fate, but the fate of all magic. Now this next one sounds really cute. I did hear it has some spice in it, so be cautious going into this one. But it just, the way people described it just sounded really, really cute. I have also heard it compared to, if you like the vibes of the Gilmore Girls from the 90s, that's a TV show, then you'll like this book. I never got into the Gilmore Girls, and I've tried a couple of times to get into it. I can get a couple episodes in, but I'm just kind of like, meh. So I'm kind of indifferent about it, but I like that type of vibe in my books, just the cozy atmosphere. And then there's other ways that people have described this that just sound really cute with how they talk about the synopsis. And so I'm talking about the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This is written, it says, it's the season to fall in love, written by Lori Gilmore. And I like the gold foiling in the leaves and stuff there. A small town spicy romance. It says spicy right on the back, so there we go. When Janine's aunt gifts her beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dream Harbor, Janine jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk job. Logan is a local farmer who avoids Dream Harbor's gossip at all costs, but Janine's arrival disrupts Logan's routine, and he wants nothing to do with the irritatingly upbeat new girl, except that he finds himself inexplicably drawn to her. Will Janine's happy-go-lucky attitude win over the grumpy but gorgeous Logan? Or has this city girl found the one person in town who won't fall for her charm or her pumpkin spice lattes? Okay, now these next 4 and the last 4 books in this video are all Christmas ones, and these are all romance, so just be aware of that. So, okay, this first one is So This Is Christmas, written by Tracy Andreen. I'm guessing is how that is said. Christmas, Oklahoma is a terrible place to celebrate Christmas. Luckily, it's the perfect place to fall in love. When Finley decides to go home to Christmas, Oklahoma for the holidays, the last person she expects to see there is Arthur Chakrabarty Watercress, a fellow student at her New England prep school. Arthur is, Finley thinks, an uptight Brit who hardly knows she exists. So why have Arthur and his Aunt Esha chosen to spend Christmas at Grandma Joe's Hoyden Inn? If the greatly enhanced town website created by Finley to impress her snobbish classmates is to blame, how can she produce the perfect American Christmas experience their guests expect? especially since she's reeling from some surprising revelations about her parents, as well as about her former boyfriend and her best friend. Old secrets and new romances, hilarious near disasters, and a Christmas miracle or two add to the fun as Finley discovers that Arthur is, well, kind of hot. So, okay, next up I have Kiss Me at Christmas, written by Jenny Bayless. Christmas can officially get stuffed because Harriet Smith is not feeling bright and merry this year. She hasn't for a while, so when her daughter opts for New York's winter wonderland instead of spending Christmas at home, Harriet finds herself seeking solace, starting with a wine-soaked one-night stand. But after she takes the fall for some students who break into the town's old winter theater, Harriet's holiday plans are swiftly decided for her. To get the students off the hook, the theater's elderly owner requests that Harriet direct the nearly defunct stage's final Christmas performance. Of course, Harriet will do anything to help the kids, even work with the owner's lawyer, who, as it turns out, is her less than impressed one-night stand. Will some good old-fashioned Christmas cheer be enough to remind her what makes life merry and bright? Okay. Next up I have is All I Want for Christmas by Maggie Knox. This one looks like, this one, the cover gives me kind of Western vibes because of the cowboy hat, and then he's got a good acoustic guitar there. So, but I could be wrong on that. True love wasn't on their holiday wish list. When Sadie and Max are selected as contestants on the famed reality singing show Star Maker, each thinks they've finally gotten their big Nashville break. But then they're paired up for duet week and stun the world with their romantic onstage chemistry. With fans going wild for hashtag Saxy, the network demands that they remain a duo on and off stage or exit the competition. Faking a relationship until their final performance in the Star Maker holiday special shouldn't be too hard, except for one small problem. Sadie and Max can't stand each other. But with their dreams just within reach, they agree to the ruse. Will their fake relationship be exposed before they can win, or might their phony connection turn real by the Christmas finale? So it does not honestly give me, the cover gives me Christmas vibes, it has Christmas in the title, but the synopsis does not give me Christmas vibes. But I could be wrong, we'll see. I'm sure I'll still enjoy it. And then this last one in this haul is Meet Me Under the Mistletoe, also by Jenny Bayless. There's something that Jenny does with the title and the covers that draw me in, but I have yet to read any of her work, so I'm hoping I'll get to one of her books this season. A city bookshop owner heads to the English countryside for a holiday reunion, only to face her childhood enemy. Eleanor Noel, Nori for short, is quite content running her second-hand bookshop in London. Forever torn between her working-class upbringing and her classmates' extravagant lifestyles at the posh private school she attended on scholarship, Nori has finally figured out how to keep both at equal distance. So when two of her oldest friends invite their whole gang to spend the time leading up to their wedding together at the castle near their old school, Nori must prepare herself for an emotionally complicated few days. The reunion brings back fond memories, but also requires Nori to dodge an ill-advised former fling, when she falls quite literally into the arms of Isaac, the castle's head gardener, who has nothing but contempt for these snobby prep school kids. The attraction between them is undeniable, and as Nori spends more time with Isaac during the wedding festivities, she finds herself falling hard for the boy she used to consider an enemy. Nori and Isaac explore their common ground, but pressures mount on all sides, and Nori must decide what kind of life she wants to live and what sort of love is worth the risk. That sounds cute. Anyway, so that is it. Those are all of the books for this book haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books or books from any of these authors. Do any of these books sound particularly interesting to you? Definitely let me know. I'm going to finish this with saying two things. One, talk to me in the comment section below, and until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book, and I will talk to you later. And number two, I'll show you Molly and Polly. They're taking a nap. So we'll close out with Molly and Polly. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to. Oh, you just fell back asleep. Okay. There she is. Hi, Molly. And there's Polly.